Hello friends! So this is the last day of the walkthrough, and it's only a partial day. The remainder of the day is going to be the opening of the actual main game. It will open up a lot more capability of things like being able to mine deeper in the mine, being able to tame animals, being able to find the seeds that we need. We're going to take full advantage of the stamina and time being paused this morning until we actually open up that rest of the game, where we're going to be able to have a lot more things that we can do, a lot more tools at our disposal, and be able to explore the wider world. This is probably going to be a longer recording. I'm going to still try to keep it around 1 hour. It will automatically take you to the next day without allowing you to put yourself to bed to save it. So I'm going to show you on the morning of the next day how to manually save it, so that if you have to replay your day, you're only going to that morning rather than 2 days prior. Now, one thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up our fields, and we're going to plant very specific seeds. What we need to plant is 3 tomatoes, all of the onions we can find, which will probably be 2. If we have a choice, we'll plant 3. And then we're also going to need to plant 3 daisies and 3 tulips and as many strawberry pansies and marguerites as we can. We will probably end up having to plant our new seed, the viola seed, which we will have to explore to find at a later time. We're going to collect our money here for the shipped items. We're going to throw in some more stone. Now, we are keeping all of these crops because we can use them to tame, particularly the horse is the first thing that we're going to try to tame. We want a horse so that we're not running around on our feet taking up a bunch of stamina. We will still be using stamina running around on a horse, but it's markedly less, and it's much faster. Now, we do have some regrowth of the stone today, so throwing in some more stone means that we're going to be able to make it back right away. And we do have more stone than we need right now, and part of that is just so that we have things that we can sell. So today we're going to gather all of the stone that we come across. We're going to pick up all the mushrooms and forageable items we can find, and we are also going to start collecting seeds. There will be wisps all over, and we are going to collect every single one of them. We will have to make return trips back to the storage area, and we can only access our house right now. All of the shops are closed, so we cannot conveniently run into the general store or something to use their storage in order to drop seeds off and open up some area. One thing that I wanted to show, we'll see if we can, there's that blue wisp over there. He provides multiple seeds. You usually only will get 2 from a red, but the blue will give 3 to 5 seeds. Now, he runs though, and because we cannot crouch yet until we leave this area, we're going to walk super slow. I am barely touching the analog stick. You can see how slow I'm going. This is the only way right now that we can approach him without chasing him off. Now, he is not the most important one. There is one that if we do not approach correctly, it's going to be worthwhile restarting your day. I'll show you which one that is. He's down by the beach. There is a couple of hard stops in the game when you're trying to unlock and repair villages. One of them is going to require you to have a bunch of tomatoes and onions. That's going to be fairly quick because we are already almost ready to open up Lily Kala. Oops. And that hard stop is going to require 5 tomatoes and 3 onion. So we are going to plant the tomatoes and onion that we collect today. We're going to plant the flowers that we're going to need in order to unlock Lectonbury, because the Lectonbury stars are going to have a hard stop at 3 until we open up their town festival, which is going to require collecting many different flowers many different times. So the first unlock point for the Lectonbury is to open up the flower shop. That's where we're going to need the 3 daisies and the 3 tulips. Now you might notice I am avoiding that archway, and we're going to be doing kind of a C movement. We're not crossing in front of it because we don't want it to accidentally pull us into the main game before we've gone through and collected all of the seeds and collected all of the rock that has respawned. Now, that would also cause a reset, is if we ended up doing that. Now, none of these are the seeds that we are going to be planning to plant in our little spot here, so we're just going to go ahead and put them away. Our pockets will fill so quickly over and over again that this is going to be, whenever you're in the area, just drop off everything. At least seeds-wise. The gathering items that are forageable that you can eat, those you'll have a little more wiggle room with, but it's still important to keep them empty. I love this little rainbow. Now, one thing, let's grab these 2 little guys over here, and then I'm going to show you there's a golden wisp that would give us golden fruit. Well, I think it looks like an acorn to me. But if we pass in 3 of them, the harvest goddess can either increase our stamina, which we are desperate for this early on in the game, or increase our bag space, which is also very nice, but stamina is probably the priority. This little guy we have no way to reach at this point, and that is because it is springtime. In the summertime, the waters will lower. I think they're trying to say like the heat is causing the water to evaporate, and the pond gets less full, and then there will be some, like a landmass that we can walk across. There's also going to be areas like that we won't be able to access until winter time. So summer and winter is going to create bridges to areas we wouldn't normally be able to access. Here is another one of the, so those tulip seeds are getting planted. We're going to need 1 more tulip to get the rest. This is another purple guy that is not important. He only has, I believe, cabbages. And we need the purple guy that has tomatoes. He is the only one that has tomatoes, and the only one that we can access this early in the game to start growing those tomatoes so that we can get Lily Kala opened up and start rebuilding in spring. I really wish we could sprint right now. I think it's something that they should have done during the startup of the game, because this can really drag just wandering around in the starter area without being able to run. We cannot interact with these trees, or I would be chopping them all, even if it only gave 1 lumber, because it's free right now. Doesn't cause any issues with stamina or time, since the time doesn't increase until we trigger the event at the archway. Now there is a purple guy down by the beach that is the most important, and here's the only onion guy that we have access to right now. Onions grow super fast, and he will show up in a couple of days. We will probably have enough time in a couple of days to grow enough onions that it's not a worry, but considering we only get 3 tomato plants, they take a while to grow, and they regrow, which is why they take so long to go full grown. You can get, I believe 2 to 3 tomatoes per growth, and that depends on how increased you have your... And again, we're going to avoid that archway and just sneak right around here. So it's really kind of a moon shape that we're doing. We did the inner moon part with just the tail end over there, and then we are going to end up at the last purple guy. Will probably be the last one that we get that's the important one. But we'll need to go home, and I think we're getting close on our seeds. Yeah. There's a couple of things that I want to show you, but I wanted to get this marguerite seed before I did. Now, there's a few flowers that we're going to need a whole lot of. Marguerite seeds. Here, let me zoom out so you can see a little better. Marguerite seeds is one of them. So it used to be you push the minus button to pull up just your quest log. Now, if you hit that same button on the Switch, it's the minus key. On the PlayStation, it is the big blank menu button in the center of your controller. You now have access to the dock pad. The dock pad is very useful for a number of reasons. This is the first thing that I wanted to show you. If you click the Y button on the map, you can do an item search. Here is the flowers that we need to find. There's more flowers than that, but the tulips we only need 1 more seed bag for, and you can see there is a tulip bag right outside. As soon as we trigger it, we can grab that tulip seed and be done with tulips. The other thing that we need is strawberry pansies and marguerites. These we need 10 of. We will only have 2 seeds per bag that we have gathered already. So these ones that we've got in our inventory, there's only 2 of each, and that's the marguerite seed that we just got right here and the strawberry pansy seed that we get right there. If you look over here, we can get another strawberry pansy seed all the way over here, and then right around, I want to say here, is going to be a viola seed, as well as right around here. And those are the 3 that we're going to need 10 of, and we need to grow those 10 before the 15th. This is the flower festival that we need to make sure we have all of the flowers grown and passed in that morning. Otherwise, we may miss the festival this year. And a lot of people I've heard say, oh, that's impossible, but I've done it multiple times. It's just hard. So here is the dock pad at a glance. So here's your map. Here's where the quest log has gone to, your calendar. You can switch the different seasons. Here's your list of friends, and it gives you their likes, and it'll eventually give you more information the better that you get to know them. This is your encyclopedia. We're going to spend some time trying to fill it out. Right now, it's just got the basic crops that we've already grown or been handed. And then flowers on this side, which will only have the one flower that we picked. Any forageable items show up here. And then these are dishes that we've cooked or people have handed to us. Fish we've caught or been handed. And then here's going to be our ore and eventually our processed ore, as well as our gems and processed gems. These are the animals we have interacted with. So we have to actually pet them, talk to them, interact with them. So that, like the cows and the horse that we see in the scenes with Judy, don't count. If we want to be able to include them in the encyclopedia, we have to interact with them in the open world, like not the controlled space, but in like areas where you can actually pet them. This is a tab you may not see if you have not gotten all the DLCs. This won't necessarily be very useful until we meet Dave, which happens fairly early in the game. And then here is gems and special items. Alright, so now I believe our seed bag, we've only got room for one more. So we will get one last... Oh, we should kill the rock while we're right here. I believe we've gotten all the rest. Yeah. So we'll get that last little seed over there, and then we will break that rock and we will run home and drop everything in our inventory. Turnips are great because they are plentiful in the seeds. If you need to gather some, you can hybridize them in the summertime. And the hybrid that you get in the summertime from the turnips that you grow there, which would be the lily cauliform, are going to be necessary to hybridize a secondary time. After the main game, we can turn those hybrid turnips into more hybrids. So we take the turnip that we grow in the so I'm planting the tulips here. I'm gonna leave this space next to it empty because that's our third tulip that we need to grow. Now, right now we only have 2 strawberry pansies, so we're going to plant both of those on the next row. And remember, these celery and cabbages, they will all be fully grown tomorrow. So we'll get all this space back. And it'll be before we can plant all of the plants that we need to plant anyway. So we'll have a little bit of leeway, which is why I planted them. Now we don't want to plant anything there because that's our tulip row. Now this one will make our marguerite row. We will leave that one open for more marguerites, but it doesn't really matter because by the time we get the second marguerite bag today, it is going to be nearly the end of the day. So out of all of that we've gathered so far, we have only planted a very small amount. We do need to plant those onions, so we will plant those. And if you press Y on your bag or your storage, it will auto sort for you, keep things in somewhat organized fashion in however the game dynamic has it built out. I'm gonna plant the onions over here. Oh, we're out of water. You could probably tell I'm used to having way more access. So I'm gonna just swing by down this area to the beach. This is gonna be where that very important purple guy is. And you need these tomatoes to be planted as soon as possible. It'll be hard today, so if you can't manage to do it, just don't approach him. Just ignore him and come back later on after you've opened it up, because then you can crouch walk, which will force you to be slow enough that you're not gonna spook him. Now, I am probably walking way farther back at a slow pace than I need to, but that's probably just my anxiety and paranoia that it's going to run away, because this is the most important one to get. So here's our tomato seeds. We got 3 tomato seeds, which will give us enough of a harvest. After, I think it only does 2 harvests, so we may only get 2 tomatoes per vine, which means that it will only give us 6 tomatoes, but we only need 5 in order to pass in and unlock the lily calla area. Now, tomatoes are a high demand item. I would recommend anytime that he pops up that you grab some more vines and that you're always planting tomatoes, because they tend to be something that is requested quite a bit by Neil and others. So since this is our food area, we'll go ahead and plant our tomatoes right here. And there are no other tomato seeds in this area. Let me show you how far out you'd have to go. And I believe it's locked behind broken bridges. So your best bet is going to be very nice. Yeah, so you can't get all the way around here. You'd have to go, let me zoom out. You'd have to go down this way. This is the volcano area, but lily calla's right around here. So you're going to go all the way through here, down here, drop the wall in lily calla, go around here, and then you're going to start being able to get tomatoes down here. This one, you'd have to go all the way around here to get him up there. So, not easy. This one looks like it's closer, but there's broken bridges, so you can get to it, which we kind of will, because we have to get this marguerite seed over here. It is going to not be easy, though. So we're going to turn off the tulips, since we already know there's the tulip that's right outside, right around this area right there. Maybe I'll leave that mark there so you can see what it looks like on the mini map. It shows you right where, and you get this bright green thing to show you. If you look at the mini map, it also has the green indicator so you know what direction you're facing toward it. Very useful when you can move your sight lines around and you're not sure if you're looking north or south, to be able to navigate using that beacon. You can only set 1 beacon at a time. So if you set it somewhere else, it will release where it was before. Alright, let's see. Gotta be careful around grass. I sometimes miss the little red hats bobbing around in the grass. Here is where we have our first collectible golden wisp. It has spawned right here. I believe it spawned when we cut down the tree. I could be wrong, It could be there all the time, but I always will cut down the tree anyway. So that fruit that it gives you, it looks like an acorn to me. When we have 3 of them and we've unlocked the harvest goddess, we can pass that in to get more stamina or a single spot increase in one of our pockets. So, for example, if we had, and we'll eventually open up the map where we and have enough tools and bridges fixed that we can just run around for a large amount of time. So say that we have 20 of these instead of 1, and we might want to pass them all in at once. So what we would do is we might get 1 increase on the bag space in our food, 1 increase on the bag space of our flowers and seeds, 1 increase on our materials, which would be the ore and the lumber. This one is going to automatically be big enough for all of the special items that we can collect. You never have to worry about running out of space here. It's automatically large enough that you will never run out of space, even if you collect a ton of letters to deliver or something like that. So that's my one gripe, is that 3 of them only unlocks 1 pocket space. But right now, it doesn't matter. We are going to go get a stamina as soon as we are able. And that isn't going to be available until we unlock the harvest goddess. She will not be available until we improve Lectonbury enough that Ver becomes full powered. That is going to trigger her awakening, I guess I would call it, where she can respond and we can find her, even though I know where her spring is. Going over there doesn't do anything. It doesn't respond. There's no special thing to do it early. It won't wake her up, so we have to wait until we make Ver fully powered before we can do that. This will be the last time that we need to go through and break all of these stone. If we have done it right and we were conscientious enough to go through and hit all of the rocks multiple times throughout this walkthrough the way that we have, we will never have to worry about stone again. Stone is something that is going to be plethora. It'll become a nuisance in the mine. Even though we want to keep several, I would say 2 or 3 stacks of it for our material stone needs, it is easy to replace. So we may, in order to free up space, just sell stone in the future. But it is super useful this early in the game before it becomes a nuisance. I think this one is our last little blue guy. So I will grab him really quick. And then I don't have to be nearly as careful wandering around, because he is the last rare wisp in this area. Now the wheat seeds we're going to be planting fairly often as well, because the baguettes are necessary to unlock stars in 3 of the 4 cities. And so it's going to be a recurring thing that we're going to need all the time. Also, Anna is going to ask for wheat in her rotation of requests throughout the day. You can see that wisp popped out, but it's random. Whether you're hitting stones, chopping wood, picking fruit, or I think you can even get it when you are just trying to cut grass to get fodder to feed your animals. They just randomly appear. and the seeds they have are going to be a randomly assigned seed for the area in which they appear in. So it's fairly random. You can't plan on them being the one that you're looking for. Occasionally you'll have to break a big boulder in order to get a golden one, and that's the only one that you can plan on it always being there when you break the boulder all the way. The stone that we are collecting now, part of it is going to be just so we have stuff to ship this early in the game. It's also going to be because the material stone is used in, I believe, every single village throughout the entire game in order to repair. But it is also one of the items that are requested in dailies and also a timed by the end of the day quest. So it's worthwhile. It's a pain. It's not the funnest thing, but it is worthwhile to put in the effort. We are getting close to being completely done with the tutorial area where we're going to unlock the main part of the game where we will start being responsible for time and stamina. It will open up sprinting. It will open up crouch walking, which allows us to sneak, I guess. I think it's just it keeps us from walking too fast and spooking the rare blue guys, as well as the animals. I'll show you the crouch walking when we approach the horse that's near the marguerite seeds that we're gonna need. The first horse that we tame is the easiest one to access. It is also the easiest one to tame. It is also the closest one to the starter area. So this game really does intend for you to take it as your very first horse, but do not keep it as your final horse. It is way too slow. That path that we have to walk in order to get reliable tomato seeds is also going to be the path we have to walk in order to get there are other horses that you could get that are faster than the beginner horse, but if you're going to swap to a new horse, you might as well swap to the fastest horse. And I'm not sure that it's the fastest one that we can reach at that point, but it's my favorite, so we're going to do it. There's our last daisy seed. We have to plant that last daisy seed in our daisies. Dump all the rest of our seeds. We're also going to dump all of our forageables and collected items because even though they'll be useful in order to collect the or provide stamina, I should say, once we are out in the wider world and we need to start being responsible for our stamina, there's going to be a whole bunch of apple trees that we're just going to pick on our way to go collect some more strawberry pansies, viola seeds. And eventually, we're also going to hit a scenario that will immediately put us to bed when it's done. So when we hit that scenario, it gives you an option on basically saying, let's go right now, or hang on a second, give me a minute, type of thing. And we're going to ask them to wait so that we can pet our horse and get the second iteration of seeds that we need. So these are the marguerites, strawberry pansies, tulips, and so this will be our daisies. We only need to do 3. And we're just going to go ahead and water them. So even though we have spots that are open, they are already planned out, so we're not going to plant anything else there. We are probably going to grab that tulip outside, plant it real fast, because that's the high priority item that we need planted to unlock Lectonbury. We do not need any more of the daisies. We've got the 3 that are required. So let's take a look at all of the seeds we have collected thus far. We have plenty of carrots, and that's going to be something that's going to be easy to find, as well as the turnips. I generally throw in carrots whenever I have spare areas. We should start out the game with more seeds than we will ever consider needing. We will eventually run out of them and have to go collecting. But it's nice, especially if you have a backlog of seeds, that you can just throw things into the ground whenever you need. Alright, so let's just take a look at the map. We are going to enable as many of the seeds as we can, and then we'll switch and enable as many more as we can, just to make sure we didn't miss any of the free seeds in this early area. So we've already checked these 2 flowers. So there's only so many seeds we can put on up there. So we'll... Oh, I guess we have plenty where we can check them all. And as you can see, none of these seeds are in the green area that's lit up. So we did a good job sweeping this area. But I don't want to inundate myself with a bunch of seeds we don't need. So we are going to leave the marguerites there and the strawberry pansies. And we will be searching for 2 more by the end of the day. But we are finally ready to trigger the scene that'll take us into the larger area. The nice thing is, as soon as we trigger that scene, once we get through it, it will have several help files. By the way, if you missed a help file, or if you can't remember how to do something because you come back after a while, just go all the way down to the end for the tips, and you can choose a tip, press the A on it to be able to go through each tip in the dock pad. And that is being able to launch and reread these help files. Won't necessarily answer all of your questions on how to do something or how some dynamic of the game works, because they're pretty basic, but it's a good start and it's an easy to access thing. So we're going to go ahead and start our actual game. Oh, I might have gone through that very quickly. I apologize if you don't read as fast as I do. The gist of it is that they want you to take letters and messages to their loved ones if we find them outside in the big, larger world. These baguettes we are definitely not going to eat. They are going to be used in unlocking the cultural levels in the middle of Lectonbury, Lilycala, and I believe Zimagrad. I think that Erbsburg does not have a traveling merchant, if I remember right. I could be mistaken. It's been a while since I did the Erbsburg part of the game. I either play a walkthrough, a tutorial. The walkthrough is from beginning to end. The tutorial is going to be one of my end game playthroughs, or something that I have saved in the middle if I need to show, say for example, the level 2 house rather than the level 3 house. Also, I record these at like 4 o'clock in the morning before most of my family is awake, so that I am not needed, and it's before either of my full-time jobs start. And that gives me some time to get it edited throughout the day as I find time before I release it, usually the next day. So my brain isn't thinking or remembering as well as it probably could later on in the day. We're going to swing over here really quick and start running because we can. Grab a mushroom and our first strawberry seeds. I like the strawberry seeds because they are regrowable. They will come back and grow like 3 strawberries. Well, I think it's 2, maybe it's 3 strawberries per growth cycle, but you get 1 strawberry each time, but it can add up. We're gonna go back immediately since we now have our last tulip and get that planted because the tulips and the daisies need to be planted today so that they have that full growth cycle as early as possible. I believe we saved that spot right there for it. We do not need tulips or strawberries anymore, so we're going to go ahead and put those away before we run out and start exploring. Now there's a specific path we are going to do right now. We don't need any of this food because we're going to collect it on our way. We probably are going to not need our materials bag at all once we leave the village for today. It becomes way more important once we open up Lectonbury, but not right this moment. We can now interact with Ver. I wanted to mention that. You might have seen me talk to him, but this is the first time we can start talking to him and building responsibility. We no longer need that indicator there. So one thing we're going to do is we are going to head down this way. There's going to be a seed right around here that we're going to need, and then there's going to be a seed right around here that we're going to need. But our first seed we're going to go for is actually right around there. No, that's probably too far, but I'll show you. It's easier when the map's opened up. That won't happen until we revive the harvest goddess. And there are, oh sorry, I didn't mean to push that so quickly. So there are apple trees, the whole path that we're going, and this is one reason why I do it this way, is so that we can make sure that we get stamina inducing apple trees. I'm not going to get that one. It's just, I can't remember if it's daisies or tulips, but it's one we don't need. This one we don't need either. But over here is the most important wisp of all, fodder corn seeds. We are going to need those constantly to feed our barn animals. So let's go ahead and add that as a permanent search on our map. We will probably leave that up all of the time so we can see when this little guy over here respawns. But now we're going to take a path going straight south, probably down to right around here. It's going to be close to the edge of the lake. From where we're at, just gathering all of the apple trees, we can collect the wisps. They're going to have some things that we don't already have, but they're not important. The ones that are important are going to be the flower seeds, because we need to get those planted as soon as possible. So what will happen is we will gather these flower seeds, and then we will wait 2 days because they don't come back immediately the next day. And then we will come back and gather them again and plant them immediately each time, because we need 10 total and we can only get 4 per day that they are spawned. So 4 every 2 days is what we're looking at. If you're not diligent about getting the marguerite seed, which is the hardest, the second marguerite seed is the hardest one to come by, you will not be able to open up the spring festival in time. Now, we don't really need to collect the strawberry pansy seed that's over there. Part of that is because there is one right over here, but we're also going to be getting a bunch of strawberry pansy seeds as quest rewards. So they'll be plentiful before we're going to be able to pass them in to get replacements. But really, we only need the 4 today. So we're not going to take the other. It's a very long walk around and it wastes a lot of time. And if we're going to introduce ourselves to a couple of horses and get our last fodder seed and our last marguerite seed for today, then we don't want to spend that time over there. So our last viola seed is going to be this guy right here. Let's go ahead and add them to our list for things we need to keep an eye out for. So now we've got marguerite seeds, strawberry pansy, fodder corn, and viola seeds. You can see we've cleaned out both areas of pretty much all of them, but this one, which is hard to get to. So we are done with most of those seeds, but the marguerite seed that we need is going to be right here. And because it is so hard to access, we're going to put a marker next to it. Without having the map opened up, you can't see what level of a plateau it is on easily. So it's just easier to mark it out so that I have that green glow that I can orient myself around when I'm trying to find a way up, a ramp up, or a ramp down. Both of these characters are romanceable characters. Wesley is one of my favorites, but he doesn't have his romance events opened until much later on in the game. You'll have all of the other villages opened up before. This game will indicate that it wants you to move to Providence, but you will be unable to improve it until after we have opened and dropped all of the walls for all of the other towns. Even though it's the second one you come across, it ends up being the final town in the main story that you're going to improve. Nemo is one of the traveling merchants. You can tell because of his gigantic backpack that he wears. This is the one that we're going to be helping the most to unlock the cultural level, the 3rd star in Lectonbury, which is a keystone in opening up a lot of the materials, recipes, and upgrades that we're going to need throughout the game. Dock is probably one of the most useful of the workshops, and so you need to be able to open up Lectonbury fairly early in the game. We should have him on his way before the end of spring, if depending on how nice Judy is to us and how early we can afford a cow. We really should just start with 2 or 3 cows if we can afford it. And this is where we're going to say, just wait a minute, because it'll immediately end our day. And we need to get through this town because it is the only way to pass these bridges. We'll say hi really quick to Wesley. And then we are going to do a sharp turn south. These are all villagers from other towns that we're going to unlock and then bring back to their hometown. Do we have room for more? Yeah, we might as well grab some more seeds while we're running around. We are running out of energy, so we are going to eat some of... Actually, let's eat some of the mushrooms. In fact, we probably only need like 3 hearts just to get through the rest of this. There are horses right here, so we are going to crouch walk, and we don't have to be that far. We can be at the road level, and we're gonna walk all the way up to them, pet each one before we feed them. So we're going to walk up, and if we feed one, the crunch of what it's eating scares the other one off. So we have to pet them both. And I just do that because you never know which one is going to be easier to tame when we're ready to see. That one already ran off because I turned around before I crouched. So we want to make sure, since we won't know which one is which when we approach, we're just going to pet and feed them both until we convince them to be our friend. So this is going to be the path we're going to take for our second marguerite seed, but it also gives us access to these coffee trees. The recipe for coffee is going to be one of the very first recipes that's going to be available for us at the Lectonbury restaurant. And so it's one of the very first things we'll be able to cook in order to increase our stamina for mine runs. This area is a good spot because the coffee trees are very close together, and we're going to have to be over here anyway in order to get this fodder seed right here and this marguerite seed down here. And you cannot approach him from any other direction because there's no way up. So now that we've got our marguerite seed and our fodder seed, we now have 2, 4, and 2. We won't be able to plant any of them because as soon as we get home, it's going to put us straight to bed. So we're just going to collect a little bit on our way back to Providence in order to escort our villages home. Now, like I said, it's not going to let you save. So we're going to have to do a manual save in the morning so that you don't lose progress. If something happens and you want to restart your day, you don't want to have to go through all of this again. This town has quite a few wisps that are hidden in pockets. And the people are going to be located inside this house. And there, now we can take them home. And that's the first step towards rebuilding Lectonbury, is bringing the villagers back. Tomorrow they're going to ask us to rebuild, and all of those materials we've been working so hard to gather, we're going to start spending them already. All those seeds we gathered, we cannot plant them today because it's going to put us to bed, but we have the areas open so we can plant them tomorrow. And like I mentioned, the seeds will not be repopulated tomorrow. We will have to wait till the next day, and then we will do that whole entire run again just for seeds. We're going to skip any of the sprites we don't need, and we're only going to hit the sprites that we need to gather the seeds that are necessary to unlock Lectonbury from that 3rd star. Now, generally, once I hit the 3rd star, I will pack up and move to Lilycala so I'm not wasting my shipped items every single day, which means I tend to go back and forth between the 2 villages in the beginning as I'm unlocking them from their cultural locks. The game will indicate that you want to move to Providence. You do not. I will show you how to get past that so that you can get through the scenario without actually moving your farm to a useless area where you will not be providing any increase to reputation to anyone. So here's a basic breakdown of the cultural level. It is far more nuanced than this little card deck indicates, but we've gone through that at length already. Alright, so this will be the end of the day. I'm going to show you how we're going to save it, and then it'll be the end of our walkthrough for this day. We will then get to rebuilding everything. You'll see it's a very fast process once we get into it. It is now the next morning. We're going to hit the plus sign for the switch, same way we got into the game settings in order to set relax mode and adjust our rotation speed. We are now going to choose a manual save. We're going to save it, and then now we've got, if we have to replay the day, we will be back to the morning of the 6th rather than ending up having to replay that entire day again for the 5th and the 6th. I would appreciate it if you guys could help me get the word out that the new walkthrough is being built out. Like, share, subscribe. That will help the algorithms make sure that people can see what I'm working on at the moment. If you want to see any particular tutorials, please feel free to leave a comment. If you have any game-related questions, I try to answer them as quickly as I can. And have a great day.